Hello Bishes, welcome back to another video, and this time I am back on the topic of social media and why it's pretty much killing creativity for artists and artists in animation. And this is a topic that I've definitely talked about and why social media has kind of been a hindrance for artists lately, but I want to talk about why it's specifically killing creativity and how it's really limiting people from expressing themselves or sharing their work online. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the topic of today's video. And for the illustrations I'm doing, these are two older illustrations that I've done and they've already been shared on my Instagram. They're not a comic, they're more so a collage of just my experiences traveling, because I did these illustrations because I really wanted to just find ways to reinvigorate my love for just drawing and capturing my memories. And doing these random collages of just people that I met while traveling or just little vignettes of my memories while traveling was just very helpful and therapeutic for me to just find a way to enjoy drawing something again and not feel pressured to make it a cool comic. So going on the topic of social media killing your creativity as an artist, I think that we all know one of the reasons why it's been very hard to be and exist on social media lately, and sometimes it's because of reels and just the idea that video type of content seems to be more valued on Instagram, and lately I kind of heard something about IGTV ending, so I'm not really sure about that, but in general we all know that TikToks and Reels are becoming more of a thing, and it kind of puts more pressure on artists to now be sharing video content or documenting your art process into the form of a video type of content. And while I think that is great, and if you are someone who feels like you do enjoy creating Reels and TikToks more, that's great. However, I feel like it's just starting to limit the type of content that is deemed as enjoyable online, because yeah, watching videos are great, but I feel like there's some sort of pleasantness in just reading a comic or looking at an illustration without needing all of this overstimulation just to be able to enjoy something. One of the reasons why creating reels or video content can be killing creativity for artists is because if you are someone who's just gonna be like, yeah, I guess I'll just try reels and start getting into it to, boost the engagement on your platform, then you might be pressured to even start making animations instead of illustrations, and animations are a whole other level of work. Like, as someone who is basically in the animation industry and has produced for student films and generally knows what it's like to animate something, I can't imagine having to animate short films on a weekly basis. Even if it's a few seconds long, a few seconds of animation can be hundreds to thousands of drawings, which I just don't know how some people do it. Of course, I understand that, some people have teams and have hired people to work with, but for an independent artist who's just trying to make a living or something on social media, I can't imagine someone doing that by themselves all the time and having a healthy lifestyle alongside with that. And if it's not about creating a whole animation, then maybe this artist is documenting their art process or their workflow, which kind of kills the being in the moment aspect of drawing or creating your comic. Now you have to worry about how you're documenting your process and making sure it's aesthetic, because I get it. I've made a single reel so far, pretty much documenting my process with creating my comics during the certain style that I was doing them in, but it's like the smallest things kind of get to you. You kind of start to worry like, oh, I hope my room isn't a fucking mess when I'm documenting this. Oh, I hope my boyfriend isn't fucking walking in the background while I'm doing this. Or it's just so many small things that you kind of never had to worry about starts becoming an issue. And I feel like when you film a video, you kind of have to expose so much of your personal life at the same time. Like, I know I've made videos on YouTube filming myself talking, featuring myself in my apartment or home, and while it might seem easy for people to just look at and be like, okay, well, what was so hard about that? It's like, for me, I still had to build up so much confidence and just so much pressure to just be this way in a way that I'm okay with it. Like, it took time for me to be comfortable with showcasing me and my life online. So to just think about having to make reels every week or a few times per week kind of sounds and feels exhausting to me. However, I do understand that there are some artists out there who might be benefiting better through reels, especially if they are in, video editing or motion graphics or animation or anything that involves video or movement. Now they have a better platform for that, and that's great. I'm just saying that I hope that in the future, it's not like one type of content has to always be the more preferable one, and that there's still going to be a space for still images or just gallery images to exist. The next reason why I feel like social media is starting to kind of kill creativity is just the pressure of having to put on a face all the time alongside with your work, because I'll be real, a lot of the times I just kind of want to post my shit and not say anything. I don't want to leave like a detailed outline about what I talked about, or I don't want to have to feel pressured to always respond to comments if I want to keep viewers coming to see my work. Like, yes, as an artist, you do want people to look at your work, or at least be able to stumble across it and just, entertain someone for a few moments, whether if you're giving them a feeling of happiness, sadness, or whatever, you're just sharing your thoughts to someone, because at the end of the day, art is a form of communication, and I feel like since humans are naturally social creatures, it's just another way of us socializing with people. However, I don't feel like just because we share our art always feels like, oh, we have to like just make sure we're responding to every single comment and responding to every single DM question or anything that exists, because let's be real, we are humans, we have our own lives to live. There is no way we're gonna ever be able to respond to every single comment, question, or DM out there. And there are times where I do feel really bad because I get so many DMs in my Instagram inbox every day and on my LinkedIn, and it's really humanly impossible for me to respond to every single one of them unless if I'm going to sacrifice other things from my life, which I don't know if I can do that because no one is paying me to respond to these DMs. Like, there's no way of me supporting my own life by responding to every single DM. So it's something that I just can't do at the moment, and it makes me feel kind of bad, and I know I shouldn't, but yeah. Other than that, I do respond to comments and DMs while I can, and I try to just do it in a way where, I'm responding to it when I'm comfortable, but I'm not going to pressure myself to respond to every single one. And I mentioned this already in previous videos, but every time I post a post online, I just look at comments pretty much within the first 15 to 30 minutes of me posting it. That's when I'll be the most attentive to comments and just see how the post is doing. I'll respond to people during that time range, but after that I won't really go back and look too deep into the comments, because a part of me starts to feel very fearful of seeing like hate comments or just inappropriate comments that I just don't need to see to ruin my day. And I know people always say shit like, don't let the hate get to you, and it's like, it's so much easier said than done. It's easy in the beginning when you first start off, I feel like, but once you start doing this a lot, like imagine just being forced to read a negative thing about yourself like consistently throughout your life from that point onward, when most normal people don't really deal with that, especially when they don't have a presence online. So I guess what I'm saying is I wish that social media can be more treated like an archive of place where I can just share my work and just be like, yeah, this is just the history of all my artwork for me to just present to people and look back on. But I just feel like it doesn't feel that great to feel pressured to always have to respond to everything, because it can kind of kill the whole mood of you being excited to post it, and then you stumble upon a rude or mean comment, or then you're reminded by how you're incapable of responding to everybody's kind words, and it just creates more muddy feelings when you have this pressure to read and sift through comments and respond to them. So, of course, the next thing that kind of kills the creativity of posting things on social media is when people now develop a schedule or a timeline to post things. And this was always like the top tip that I heard all the time when first starting off on posting on Instagram, which I never even originally planned to have be like a serious thing at all. Because when I first started posting on Instagram, it was just simply to hopefully have a recruiter or someone from the industry see my work and be like, oh yeah, she can definitely be on our project or something like that. I kind of just originally did it for exposure for my own personal industry and not so much for developing a brand or a name for myself. So ever since I started to build some momentum on my Instagram or my YouTube, I was just like curious to be like, okay, what happens if I just keep this up? I just want to see what my options are with this if I decide to keep going at it. So I started to watch some videos about like, oh, how to, grow your Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people would say things like post consistently, post a timeline that viewers can, expect to see your work by, or something like that. Like, you see some creators post every Monday, every Wednesday, every Saturday, I don't know. So for me, it would always change depending on the phase of life I'm in. Sometimes a Monday just works better for me and I'll just post on Mondays for a while. Sometimes a Thursday works better for me, so I'll just post on Thursdays for a while. But I feel like just having this set deadline every week just becomes so unreasonable, especially if you have your own life and your own profession that already exists. But if you're someone who still wants to be able to share your work and grow, it's going to be hard to maintain that, especially if you have other things going on in your life. So I still, at the moment, try to post on a schedule. I try to post weekly, and if I'm not posting weekly, then I will just let the next week go by without posting anything, and I'll just post the next week. So I'm trying to work on not doing that anymore. I want to work on posting things as I feel like they're ready to, and it feels difficult for sure because I feel like I used to feel so much pride in just being able to keep up with doing this, but at the same time it was making me not really enjoy drawing or just really feel happy about my work because I would just used to post for the sake of posting and not really posting because, I genuinely created something that I'm proud of. And I feel like there was a moment in time where it felt easier to post things that I was not proud of because for some reason it was just like, oh, it just felt more like, okay, yeah, whatever, it's just a part of the routine. And the more proud I felt of something, the more vulnerable I felt about posting it. But if I didn't feel proud about it to begin with, then, whatever, like I can just post it and not care. But now I want to start caring about the work that I post because I want people to really see the real me. And I feel like I have a lot of issues with expressing myself to people that I don't know. And let's be real, while I love you all bitches, I don't know every single one of you individually. In a perfect world, though, I wish that was the case, but nobody will ever really know me to the extent of my family or my friends. But I do want people to, at the same time, still see me for who I am and not just through these comics that I might have forced out and, not really put in all of my heart into. So I'm trying to practice putting my heart on my sleeve a little bit more and creating more serious comics that are deeper, sometimes even sadder and sometimes cringy. But hey, that's what happened in my life and I just want to share that. So based on my experiences this year so far, for me to create these types of more genuine, authentic comics that kind of showcase my artwork on a more genuine level, it takes a little bit more time. It's not as formulaic and it's not going to be as much as part of a certain pipeline. So I have to come to terms with the fact that if I want to be able to post work like this, I can't just force myself to post every Monday or every Thursday anymore. And if I'm able to, and I'm able to maintain my happiness with that, then great. Then I'll just post every Monday and Thursday as long as I'm fine with that. But I feel like there were times in life where I made a comic that felt really sincere to me and I felt kind of angry that I had to rush through it and just start to feel upset that I wasn't finishing it at a schedule that I preferred. But I'm like, but this is a comic that really meant something to me in my life. So why am I forcing myself to make it so fast and then in the long run, when I look back at this comic, I might not even like it because I rushed it so much, but it will be on my page forever. So that kind of made me reevaluate the whole like posting on your schedule thing. Like, I feel like we always knew that quality is better than quantity. Like, you hear that through everyone, but it's another one of those things that's easier said than done. So I'm trying to learn to just be more patient with myself and be like, you know what, if you don't finish it today, that's okay. You could just keep working on it until you feel better about it, because let's be real, at the end of the day, no one is fucking paying me on Instagram. My paycheck is not being held by Instagram or anything like that. I'm not even getting paid to make comics on Instagram, so why am I rushing myself? Like, Instagram has not even supported me and my income or whatever throughout the past few years. Like, the only way that it's really helped me is providing traffic so that I can send to my YouTube or to my Etsy shop, but at the same time, Instagram directly has never been like supportive monetary wise for my way of living. So that's why for YouTube now, I try to make use of my time lapses that I save on Procreate that were originally from my Instagram, so that I can manage my time better and not be as stressed with creating a whole new video, because at the end of the day, I'm still talking about things that I would if I just filmed myself talking. But instead of just seeing me, you can at least just watch a workflow of me working on my comic, in which hopefully maybe some of you can learn from, just from watching my time lapse and just from hearing me talk about information, and you don't have to look at my face or my home anymore. And then lastly, the thing about social media that I feel like is generally just killing creativity or killing off ourselves is feeling that if you don't have a social media account, you might as well not exist. Because I feel like a lot of artists feel pressure to just have a social media account, just to have exposure, or just to have, you know, some sort of discoverability from people that they want to be able to work with. So if you don't have one, you kind of feel like you're not doing something that you should be doing. So people feel like they have to force themselves into creating a social media account even when it's not needed. Like, recruiters pretty much have social media accounts now, so it feels like you definitely need to have one if you want to be discovered. And this is talking about animation specifically. I'm not sure if it is with other fields. So it feels like now you're going to have to develop this brand for yourself, and you have to live up to it. And if you're not living up to these expectations that you created for this persona of yourself, you'll start to feel unhappy with yourself because you're not meeting up with these expectations. And for the days that you're not posting, you might feel guilty because you're just spending time relaxing. And we grew up in this world that makes you feel like you have to be working all the time in order to feel valuable. At the end of the day, I feel like we should just post content at a pace that we can stay happy in, and create work that can still make us feel happy, fulfilled, and authentic. And whatever that is, that's going to be up for you to decide, and whatever works well with you and your lifestyle. But these are just my personal struggles that I've been dealing with, and I hope that some of you maybe were able to relate to it as well. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. So peace out and stay wholesome, bitches.